Hey, this is Zach from ZachMakesGames.com showing off a project I did in OpenGL. This is one of the first, actually, it was the first project I did when I was learning OpenGL. The course project was to simply create a shape that wasn't just a box or a sphere or something. It was supposed to be something interesting. I had an idea that something I could do pretty easily and geometrically was to draw a heart. So I rendered a 3D rainbow heart. And it was pretty cool. It came out pretty good actually. I was happy with it. It was really easy to do. So at the beginning of our OpenGL course, we weren't really taught about vertex buffers and things yet. He wanted to get us right into making pretty stuff appear on our screen. So we ended up using um, lists, call lists. So it was really easy to do this as a call list because a cardioid is a really simple mathematical shape. All I had to do was draw half of it and then mirror the other half and then just do a whole bunch of them and connect the vertices. So you can actually see the edges here. This was done without smooth shading, but the colors are blended well enough that they kind of look like they're smooth. So that's the result, and here's how I did it. So again, we're doing a list, so I have this set up to define the list. There it is, shape list, GL gen list, so that generates the list. And then I just did a bunch of for loops to handle the heart actually. So I've got this outside for loop, and it's been a little while since I've done this, so bear with me while I walk through this. Okay, so this is from I equals -1 to I equals 1, but skips I equals 0. So what this is doing is I equals -1 draws the first half of the heart, and then I equals 1 draws the second half of the heart. Had some things set up, some variables that would be used. These X and Y modifiers and the shift and the segment shift and the segment shift next were set up to shift the layers of the heart and make it easier to connect the vertices together. The colors, obviously, that this is the starting color, and then the color would get incremented as we went through each loops. So this was how much color to add, and then a few other things. Like it's been over a year since I've looked at this. I probably should have gone over it a little better. Oh well. So then I have another for loop for each half. Um, I have for loop through the number of segments. That would be like the number of layers in the heart. So I'd begin the triangle strip. So I was doing one each segment of the heart. These right here are triangle strips. I believe they are triangle strips. Yeah, even though they look like quads, they are actually triangle strips. And then what I was doing is using these modifiers, doing some basic math to figure out how I would start in the center here and shift them out. So I was doing some math to figure out, I figured out easily the first set of vertices on the triangle strip, and then I had to figure out the second set to shrink the strip in, and that's what this math is doing right here. And then I would do another for loop to actually generate the cardioid. So I wanted half of the cardioid from 90 degrees to 450 degrees. Um, but I was going one step over just to make sure the loop completed. And then this is just the basic math. It's a little cluttered. I could have split it up a little more, made it a little bit more readable, but it was a lot of variables and I didn't really want to do that many variables for my first project. Um, the color I did in HSV so I could shift the color around the color wheel easily, and then I just converted it back into RGB with a function that we were provided, made it real nice. And then I plotted the vertices. So the first set was for the first half of the triangle strip. The next set has these different modifiers and the shift and the segment shifts and all that added in to shift it over. And then a little bit of extra to make sure that if the color goes beyond, so if the color was less than 360, I would keep going, and if not, I would add to the right colors to get the color. It kept going in a loop, so the colors continued. And then I would end the topology and make some changes to make sure that that the next set of strips was right, and then just simply drew a polygon, two polygons to get the end caps of the heart. These red end caps um, are actually one really big polygon. Not a great way to do it, but it was my first ever OpenGL assignment. I was pretty happy with how this came out. I got a good grade. Thought it was creative. You know, it was colorful at least. It was something. I didn't just steal some 3D model and try and render it. I actually was creative about how I did this project, and it was a good learning experience. We did a lot better projects once we started using vertex buffers and actually doing things the right way. I know in WebGL, vertex buffers are deprecated, or I think it's WebGL. I know one of the OpenGL suites is deprecated. OpenGL ES, that's what it is. Um, and this is not the most efficient way to do it. We did learn that later, and I had a lot of fun with that too, but I'll get to that in another project. Thanks for watching.